Hey, welcome to 3 3/4 Thursday, where we're going to take a look at two 3 3/4 action figures. These are adult collectibles from the Marvel Legends line, which is very confusing. Marvel Legends is normally understood to be 6-inch scale. Even when they did 3 3/4 scale back in the day, they called it Marvel Universe to differentiate the line. So it's Marvel Legends, or I've heard Marvel Legends Retro, Marvel Legends, there's other names for it as well. Now on the left we have Nova. It's the man called Nova. I used to read these comic books, a few of them back in the 70s, a little bit more in the 90s. There's like a whole Nova Corps now. It's almost like the Green Lantern of the Marvel Universe, basically, at this point. The Rick Rider was the one that I read about when I was a kid. He was a teenager at the time. He went to college in the 90s, which meant he grew really slowly, which everybody does. All right, for the number, it's 53821, 53821 out of the 52648 assortment. The Moon Knight on the right, now I actually had a few of those when they first came out. Those comic books are worth a lot now, unfortunately. I don't know what happened to them. Those, his number is 53823 out of the, not, I say 5, sorry, F. If I say 5, it's F. F2648 series as well, the short as well. The card art is absolutely amazing. This looks like he looked on the very first edition, except he was more like this. And yeah, he was busting out of that front cover in amazingness. All right, so Nova is a human rocket blasting to a far-off cosmic places. Nova Richard Rider, or Rick Rider, flies by and declares blue blazes. All right, so that's his biography on the back, and it's also in multiple languages if you would like to pause it and look at it. This got a card art. I keep the whole card because it's just all around amazing. All right, so on this one we have Moon Knight, and the card art is also amazing. It looks like, from my memory, it looks like the very first comic he was on. Well, I wouldn't say on, it was his very first issue of his own comic. He was, I think, in Marvel premieres before that. I'm not sure. I know he somehow or another appeared somewhere else. All right, so Moon Knight, the original Moon Knight, a mercenary bound to an ancient spirit Khonshu. Moon Knight fights, I was about to say figure, to win the spirit its due. So it's an Egyptian thing. That's one of the reasons I liked Moon Knight at first, but then they really changed him up a lot. All right, so let's take these out of the package, starting with, of course, Rick Rider. Rick Rider, again, is older, not in universe, but the actual character itself. The comic book came out in the 70s, and then I think Moon Knight came out around 1980. I think the very first edition. Now, I would try to keep them on the card, but it's just not going to be possible. I don't have enough room to keep all these cards. All right, coming right out of the card, put it down just a little bit so you're not distracted by the background also. We got his plastic clamshell, or the, not clamshell, but just the packaging. We also got this, which nobody ever uses. All right, Rick Rider has 5 points of articulation. He does not have a ponytail, which means this is most likely his 70s appearance. In the 90s, he had this ponytail coming out, and his facial features were a little bit more pointy, I guess you could say. The helmet wasn't as smooth or as, well, plain. I mean, look at it. It's very plain. He got a little bit more, you know, embalming. I can't remember the word, but basically he got more, you know, pieces to it or whatever. It became more complicated and intricate during the 90s. His 5 points of articulation includes both of his shoulders. His head spins around. Now, I think there's a 7. Yeah, there's 7 points of articulation. So these are not exactly like Star Wars figures, because they actually do that as well. So that's the 7 points of articulation. All right, he could sit down this much. He can go back farther than any man could possibly do in real life. And he can do a split, but he can't do it sideways. All the articulation points are swivels, much like a Glyos figure. There's no ball joints on anything. There's not even the head has a ball joint. So it's a very basic figure. This is a great figure to put in your pocket if you want a pocket pal, because you don't have to worry about his feet getting hurt. They don't do anything, or him falling apart in your pocket, like some of the more fragile figures that have a lot more articulation. All right, so let's take a look at that face. Let's zoom in, because that's the best way to take a look at it. There's no paint on the lips, just white on the eyes and red on the star of his helmet. And of course, the other paint would be his skin color, because I think the helmet's basically pressed in plastic of yellow. All right, let's take a look at, I forgot what his real name is, but they didn't mention on the back, did they? That is very strange. I knew the Mark Spector, I think it was the one that they had back in the 80s, but it may have the manual may have changed several times. Who knows at this point? I don't keep up with modern comics, and I barely kept up with him. He appeared in the Avengers a few times, or I think he may have joined the team. I'm not sure. I know he crossed over with other comic books I read after I read the first few. I had the first 4-issue series because, you know, it was new. It was something new. Like, ooh, something new. All right, he is mostly white. He is like a ghost. His back has a hole in it like this one, and it's to hold the cape in place. Let's see, does the cape actually come all the way off? Let's find out, because it seems like it does, because it's definitely not attached like I thought originally. So without his helmet or his hoodie, he's got a black head like Mosets, and he also has red painted eyes. He's got a it's like a sticker basically on his chest. It's a decal. He's got stamping on his leg, and he's got a white belt on his more ivory looking body. So there is, he's printed in one color of white, but he's painted in a glossier white right here on his gloves, his boots, and his belt. And of course that's a tampo on his chest, and his eyes are painted red. The hood, let's see if the hood will go on top of Rick Ryder, the Spectre. Yeah, his helmet's not gonna let his head go through, but it makes me wonder if I could do like if I can get maybe a Princess Leia figure and create, what was her name from Dungeons and Dragons? Sheila or something? Gosh, I can't remember. The girl that had the cloak, I could paint this purple maybe. So, I mean, if I pick up another one now, I pick these up for $2.99 at my Ross. So $2.99, I could probably get a Princess Leia and make her into the girl that puts the cloak over and turns invisible. All right, so his articulation, of course, is going to be hindered from his cloak when he's in this version, but you know it's going to go all the way around. His, whoa, okay, that's strange. Okay, I thought his hand moved independently from his wrist, because I'm like, no, it's actually one piece. Okay, so his articulation's right there instead of at his wrist. It's at the glove cut. I was wondering if the boots were actually a different plastic and also did the same thing. The boots may be a different plastic. It may not be a paint. It seemed like the paint would end right there. So it may be a different plastic. And it's just, yeah, it's definitely different. It's not the same. This is a little bit softer than this. I mean, all right, so I was wrong. It is not painted on his gloves. It's just a different type of plastic, and it's just softer, I guess you could say. And of course, he's going to have the same articulation with his legs. So for $2.99, do you think these are worth it? I know when they first came out, I was definitely not paying the prices they were trying to get at retail stores. But when you find these things at Ross, you don't pass them up. Which is your favorite, and why is it Nova? I know most people are going to like the Moon Knight more. I keep wanting to see Michael Knight more, but I know more people are going to like Moon Knight. But me personally, I like Nova better. So let me know in the comments which one you like better. And if you pick these up at your Ross, and if you haven't, you might want to run there and check them out. Have a great day.